Hello and welcome back to Ancient Hebrew Never Died for the second episode on the Word NiGeR. I am Seyi Adebayo.
And I am AIA, your AI co-speaker. In the first episode, Word 402, Seyi showed you how the word NiGeR, with the racist pronunciation, is an attempt by a non-Hebrew tongue to say the full Yoruba word which, like IVRI, refers to someone of the Niger River area.
In this episode, we'll show you where the J sound comes into the word.
Just like the J in Niger, as Nigerians fondly call Nigeria, we'll explore its origins together. In this chapter we'll be working through a similar process as before, starting with the biblical Hebrew and biblical Aramaic renderings of the words. From the Aramaic Nagar and Hebrew Nagar and Nagar, we have NYGR and NGR respectively.
From word 402, we note that the person indicator for NYGR and NGR is Oni, which means we will vowelize N with the Yoruba vowels O and I.
For the Y, we also know from the NIGGER version of Niger, word 402, and from IVRI, word 401, that the river Niger is involved here, and that its local Yoruba name is Oya.
The vowels needed to go with the yod here are O and A. The next easy letter to expand is R. And again, from Ivri and words 402, we know that the word we need here is Eri. So we introduce the vowels E and I.
Next up is the G, which in this case, we will replace with the letter J, as we are looking for the source of the J sound, which features in the polite version of the word Niger. As we continue, we'll be here to provide further insights and clarifications, ensuring the linguistic journey remains clear and engaging.
At this stage, we're now looking at the whole Ogweri, longest of rivers area, for a word that has a J sound in it.
And is the word for a people or characteristic of the location. In the areas around the river Niger that the ancient Hebrews lived, there are two characteristics that feature AJ. They have exactly the same letters. One has to do with the river's size, like its length, which we looked at in 402, and the other has to do with a geographical characteristic along most of its course.
Apart from the Oya being the longest river in West Africa, it is also the largest, the greatest.
When one is bigger, greater, or older than one or more, the word Jew is one word to employ to describe the status.
For example, the phrase Obato Juobalo means king that is greater than kings. Since the Nigweri River is greater than all the rivers in the area, it is an Eri Tojueri law. So in respect of its overall size, the Niger is Ijueri, which makes the prophet Simeon an Oni Ijueri or Ni Ijueri, is still referring to the same.
If you are also wondering where the difference in the Nig of Nigger and the Naij of Niger comes from, it is simply a contraction that removed the ayin from the words. Both versions can have the same ayin that we have in the correct form of IVRI, it'll only signify the word living, existing, or being, like it does for IVRI in 402. It'll only make the words longer.
Ni Igweri will be Ni Ayu Ogweri, and Ni Ijueri will be Ni Ai Ijueri. Just like Ivri is Iberi Oya.
The Yoruba languages will shorten or fragment a word to make speech flow better, as long as the intended reference remains.
At the end of the substitution, transliteration, and vowelization, we have for NYJR and NJR, Ni Oya Ijueri and Ni Ijueri, for person of Oya, the greatest river.
Now to the second J, which gives us the J word that a people are called by. It also gives us part of a J word that a biblical place is called. I already told you that both J words to be vowelized have the same letters. So, you know that we are looking at the same letters I, J, and U we used earlier.
All along the Oya River today, from its west to the east on both sides of the river,
And also all of its south, there is lush and green, forests teeming with life, mostly thanks to the climate and abundance rain and smaller rivers. This land and the rest of forested Africa surely doth flow with milk and honey. This forested area could have covered more areas to the north of the great river in times prior.
the feature and word we're looking for at this forested areas is Iju, also pronounced Iju, like the first one we dealt with.
We should note, especially for future reference, that this green belt stretches all the way to Ethiopia in East Africa, and down into the Congo, and the rest of Central Africa. Negroes are known to inhabit all the way from Gambia on the west coast, all along the Atlantic coast and down into the Congo. And it is from this area that many slaves were transported to Europe and the Americas. Negroes lived all the way across to Ethiopia, and there is evidence to support it, but that is for another video.
The word Iju carries the vowels I and U. The latter is marked for a low tone pronunciation, indicated by a grave accent. The Yoruba term Igbo Kijikiji comes from Igbo Kiju to denote thick, dense forest. Other related words are Egon and Agiju. Let's explore how substitution and translation work here. By substituting this forest Iju for the former term Ogun, we have for NYJR and NJR, Ni-Oya Ijueni or Ni Ijueni. This translates word for word as person, Oya, forest, river.
The word rin can mean river, rain, or waterfall. So if we substitute rain for river here, we get person, Oye, forest rain. Translating as a full sentence, this gives us person of the Oya rainforest. The earlier version translates as person of the Oya river's forest. The ecology of southwestern Nigeria supports this translation. The ecology of the coastal parts of West Africa, designated as Upper and Lower Guinea, also supports this translation of NYJR.
In our previous video for Ivri, Word 401, we discussed how adding the word Ara before Oya forms a descriptor for someone from the area of Oya.
We can also do the same here and for any other place name or place indicator.
By combining Ara and Iju, we describe a person from the rainforest areas of the river Niger as Ara Iju.
In contracted speech and many hill country dialects, this becomes Iraju or Araju. This is our second destination.
So, a person from the south of the river Niger is an Araju. A person of the rainforest areas of the Niger and by extension, the rest of green sub-Saharan Africa.
Considering climate change and the Green Sahara theory, this likely included some areas on the northern side of the river as well.
But now let's turn to the Bible, specifically the Yoruba language versions. I'll be quoting from the YCV version.
It's important to note that these current versions are translations from English versions.
Nehemiah 4 verse 1. Nígbà tí Sanbalati gbọ́ pé àwa ń tún odi náà mọ, ó bínú, ó sì bínú púpọ̀. Ó fi àwọn ará Júù ṣẹlẹ́yà. Esther 10 verse 3. Mordecai ará Júù ni ó jẹ́ igbákejì ọba Ahasuerusi. Ó tóbi láàrin àwọn Júù, ó sì jẹ́ ẹni iyì lọ́dọ̀ àwọn Júù ẹlẹgbẹ́ rẹ̀, nítorí tí ó ń ṣiṣẹ́ fún ire àwọn ènìyàn rẹ̀, ó sì ń sọ̀rọ̀ fún àlàáfíà gbogbo àwọn Júù. Ezra 5 verse 1. Nígbà náà ni wòlíì Hágáì àti wòlíì Sekaraya láti ìran Ídò sọ àsọtẹ́lẹ̀ sí àwọn ará Júù ní Júdà àti ní Jerúsálẹ́mù ní orúkọ Ọlọ́run Ísírẹ́lì tí ẹ̀mí rẹ̀ ń bẹ lára wọn. Luke 23 verse 37. Wọ́n sì ń wí pé, bí ìwọ bá ṣe ọba àwọn Júù, gba ara rẹ là. Every time you read Jew or the Jews in your English Bible, the Bible is referring to an Araju, a person or persons of lush areas of the land of Israel. All the people living in the forest areas of the Niger all the way to Ethiopia and down into the south of Africa would have been Araju, aka Jews. You'll gain more clarity on this when we treat the word Ethiopia.
Be sure to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell so you don't miss the Ethiopia episode.
The prophet Simeon was not an outsider. It was an Araju, like Jesus.
In Yoruba tradition, these names carry deep meanings, connecting people and places to their ancient roots.
Since Prophet Simeon is an Onioya Ijueni, it can also be described as any of the following: Onioya Ijueni, Oni Ijueni, Oni Ijueni, Oni Iju, Onioya Iju, Oni Iju. To describe the actual place for each of the descriptions aforesaid, we have Onoya Ijueni, Onoya Ijuni, Ono Ijureni, Ono Ijueni, Ono Ijuni, Ono Ijuni, Onoya, Onoya Iju, Ono Iju. These names are not just historical, they're still found in Yoruba land today, showing the living legacy of our language.
Do the new words we focused on today appear in place names in Yoruba land today? Yes, they do.
We have exact matches: Ijurin in Ile-Ife, Osun State, Ijurin Town, Ekiti State. The latter migrated from the former, so both places bearing this age-old name are linked to the name of the place Yorubas believe to be the cradle of humanity. Replacing the Y in NYJR with an Ayin will not make much of a difference to the meaning. It'll only make the pronunciation Niai Ijurin, which will be shortened in speech to Nai Ijurin, Nai Ijurin, Niai Iju.
Looking at the translations arrived at in this episode, we can see that again, Niger does not mean black and it did not originate from outside West Africa.
The polite pronunciation of Niger is a foreigner's attempt to say Niaiju, Jiju, Inoniju, Araju, Iraju, Awonju is the origin of the word known as Jew today. The origin of the spelling Jew used for the word is a separate video topic. The J pronunciation version of NYGR is Onyoya Ijueni. A similar word of the same structure as the fragment Ijueni is Ijudea.
Did you recognize Judea from that? Biblical Judea is in sub-Saharan Africa. Cracking Jew is what makes it very easy to decode Judea. We'll be treating Judea and Yehudaya in an upcoming video, but you have the bonus of already knowing the meaning of the first part of the word Judea. We trust that you have learnt new and amazing things today. Please join us next time when we look at the word Negro, the third of this 4-part Niger series. Thank you for watching Ancient Hebrew Never Died. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.